So let's talk about one of the most powerful and honestly kind of puzzling conversations in the entire Bible. It's that moment with Jesus and Peter on the beach, right after the resurrection. We all know it's a story of restoration. But what if I told you that hidden inside 3 simple-sounding commands is a deep secret that completely unlocks the true meaning of leadership?
Right, so here's the central mystery. After Peter denies Jesus 3 times, Jesus seems to mirror that perfectly. He asks, "Do you love me?" 3 times. And each time he gives a command: feed my lambs, tend my sheep, feed my sheep. Now, why on earth would he say basically the same thing 3 times? Is he just trying to make a point, or is there something way deeper going on here?
Well, when you really dig into it, you see something incredible. This isn't just simple repetition. A much better way to think of it is precision restoration. It's this incredibly careful, intentional, step-by-step rebuilding of a leader who had just completely fallen apart.
Okay, so let's get into it. To really crack this code, we have to peel back the layers of our English translations and look at the original Greek, because that's where all the nuance and, frankly, the absolute genius of this conversation just comes alive.
First up, let's look at the actual verbs Jesus uses. The first one he uses is baske. Now, this word means to feed or to nourish. Think of it like providing spiritual food, the core truths, the teaching, the stuff that really sustains a person's faith. But then, for the second command, Jesus totally switches it up. He uses a completely different verb, poimane, and this is a much bigger idea. It means to tend or to shepherd. So we're not just talking about feeding anymore. This is about guiding, guarding, protecting, and leading the entire flock. In fact, this is the very root word we get pastor from.
Okay, so now let's look at who Peter is supposed to be caring for. First, Jesus uses the word arnion, which means lambs, and this points directly to the youngest, the most vulnerable members of the community. The new believers, the ones who really need that foundational care and teaching. And then, just like with the verbs, he switches the noun. He goes to the word probata, which just means sheep. This is the entire mature flock, the whole community of believers. So what we've got now are 2 different actions and 2 different groups. Let's see how they all fit together.
All right, so now we have all the puzzle pieces, and when we lay them out in the exact order Jesus spoke them, the repetition just completely vanishes. And what we see instead is this incredibly clear, super intentional pattern. It's beautiful.
Let's just walk through this. Step 1, feed my lambs. Jesus tells Peter, start small, nourish the most vulnerable. Okay. Step 2, shepherd my sheep. Whoa. Okay, suddenly the responsibility just explodes. Now Peter has to lead, guide, and protect the entire flock. And then step 3, feed my sheep. He comes right back to that original action of feeding, but this time it's for the mature flock, which shows us that even the strongest ones still need to be spiritually fed.
So you see this brilliant 3-step process, right? It starts with really specific care for the young, it expands to this broad leadership for everybody, and then it wraps up by focusing on sustained nourishment for the mature. This isn't just Jesus forgiving Peter. This is a complete leadership manual, and it's delivered in 3 simple commands. And what's so crucial to see is that this isn't some abstract lesson he's giving. It is deeply personal and is perfectly tailored for Peter. I mean, think about it. After this catastrophic public failure, Jesus doesn't sideline him. No, he gives him this massive responsibility, starting with the most vulnerable. That right there, that is grace in action.
I mean, this one conversation completely redefines Peter's entire purpose. He goes from being this impulsive disciple and, let's be honest, a fearful denier, to a restored shepherd, a feeder, and a leader. His greatest failure becomes the literal launchpad for the rest of his life's mission. It's incredible.
But this story isn't just about Peter. It holds these universal truths about what it really means to lead and care for other people, whether that's in your family, in your community, or even at work. So what are the principles we can pull from this?
Well, first, it's clear that real leadership is holistic. It's about feeding, guiding, and protecting. Second, it's about stewardship, not ownership. Did you notice how Jesus keeps saying my sheep, not your sheep? That's such a powerful reminder that any leader is ultimately accountable to the real owner. And finally, it shows that good leadership means you have to recognize that different people need different kinds of care at different times.
But hold on, there is one final layer of genius in how this is all put together. It's something we can call the sandwich structure. And it's an unbelievably profound insight just hidden there in the sequence of the commands themselves.
Just look at this. The command begins with feeding and it ends with feeding. The big act of shepherding.
The leading, the governing, the exercising of authority is literally sandwiched between two acts of nourishment and service. The message here is just unmistakable. Any real authority must always be grounded in and surrounded by the act of serving and sustaining other people, not controlling them.
So what's the big takeaway from all of this? When Jesus is asking Peter, "Do you love me?" he's showing him and all of us that this love isn't meant to be just some internal feeling or a private emotion. It has to go somewhere. It has to be expressed in action.
And this is exactly where it goes. It's put so perfectly here. Love for God is validated by how we treat people. The ultimate proof of Peter's restored love isn't going to be in what he says. It's going to be in his willingness to turn that love outward and actually care for other people.
So you have this man who once boasted, "I will never fall," and now he's standing there, completely humbled by his failure. And what is the Savior's response? It's not condemnation, it's not rejection, it's commissioning, it's responsibility, it's a whole new purpose built directly on the ruins of that failure.
And that leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. The reason for this incredible second chance isn't based on Peter's own strength or his own merit. Not at all. It's based entirely on his identity, on his belonging. In essence, what Jesus is saying is, feed them, shepherd them, not because you are strong, but because you are mine.